Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Start summer up by mixing things up with top paint and stain brands at Lowe's. Shop HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, Valspar, Cabot to find the perfect pop of color or classic shade you've been looking for. And don't forget to prep your deck for the season with reliable wood stain and sealer. Now's the perfect time to complete your paint or stain project. Lowe's. All things summer, all at the right price.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
The Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Yeah, we got that Men's Room happy hour coming up here for you at 6 o'clock, Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock, and that is exclusively on Odyssey. Well, we will not be on KISW at 6, but what we will be is on the Men's Room happy hour app, which is available now. You can search for it on the Odyssey app or find it at KISW.com. And if you don't have the Odyssey app yet with hundreds of new stations and everything else, download it for free in the App Store and Google Play. Then favorite the happy hour in your apps. It'll always be there for you today. The return of the effing news, and we get to look back on our week's vacation and all the fun that was had. So that's coming up at 6 o'clock. And if you don't have the happy hour app, download it now exclusively on Odyssey. All right, it is our random question. 206-421-ROCK.
Random.
Hello, Brian. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Little phone dog.
We got phone dog.
It's been a while.
Yeah, been a while. Hello, Trevor. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola, guys.
Hola.
Trevor, welcome to the program. Random question. Let's go with this one. Whether you meant to or not, who did you scare to death, or who scared you?
Well, I feel like every time I get woken up, I have a buddy that doesn't like to do it because sorry, I was about to swear there. He doesn't like waking me up because I wake up like a bomb just went off.
Yeah, we have friends like that. Ryan Castle's tried to punch me in the face numerous times as his alarm clock goes off for hours on end in the morning in a hotel room.
He's trying to punch everybody. We have a debate about who wakes him up.
A little bit, and he starts freaking out.
Well, look, here's the thing with him, right? So you wake him up. Everyone was drunk. Everyone feels like crap, but you got to wake him up. And we realized if you do the traditional wake up, you go over, like, grab him by the shoulder and shake him. He literally rolls over with a haymaker. I think he's punched all. I'm not kidding, man. Yeah. It is how he wakes up. And he get punched like 2 or 3 times. So I want to say one of the times we were in Portland, I want to say Ted and I were debating it. Like, I'm not waking. I don't feel like getting punched. Ted's like, I'm not doing it.
He punched me in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, it's
a haymaker just coming over the bed. Like, generally as grown adults who pass out at 2 o'clock in the morning on a king-size bed, like, you take that half, I take this half, right? No big deal. We're not going to wake up cuddling or anything. But his goddamn alarm's went off.
So the southpaw sleeper?
Oh, my God. Then he just throws a haymaker at it.
I mean,
is he like that in regular life, or is it just after a night of partying?
I don't know.
Because he normally can't sleep.
I mean, I would feel like his wife would mention, like, hey, he's punched me like 40 times. So I think it's just when he's out drinking. Because when he gets hammered here in Seattle, he usually just goes home and lays on the sofa.
Yeah.
Like, let the wife sleep. And that might be why, man. But seriously, every time you wake him up, he wakes up with a haymaker.
Reason we asked whether you meant to or not, who did you scare to death or who scared you? A woman was sitting in her car in a parking lot at a lighthouse in Santa Cruz, California last week, by the way, which is a lovely area. And a random guy opened her passenger side door. Police say it spooked her because she thought she was being carjacked. So before he could get in, she floored it, plowed through a fence, and accidentally drove off a cliff. Luckily, this was a small cliff. She fell about 10 feet and landed on a beach. So she only ended up with a minor foot injury, but her SUV was pretty roughed up. So why was the guy trying to get into her car in the first place? It turned out to be just an honest mistake. It was dark, and his car was a similar make and model in the same color. And they happened to be parked right next to each other. Police say it was truly an accident, so he's not facing any charges. I want to say that Rex Chapman, maybe, or somebody, posted about a month ago this guy on video trying to get into this car. And I mean, he's got his keys, he's doing all the things, he's walking around and all that stuff. It lasts for like 2 minutes. Then at the 2.5 minute mark, he realizes that it's the white car next to the car he's trying to get into.
He's literally standing next to his car.
He's right in between the two cars. But I mean, it's the same damn car. So he's sitting there just trying to open up the wrong car the entire time.
How many times have you jumped into, I've done it probably 3 times in my life, just assumed it was the Uber? Because at the time, most of Uber's fleet early on, it was a very similar car. It was like those little black Priuses.
Or gray. Or charcoal gray.
So you're waiting for an Uber, and this person rolls up to where you are. They stop. You make eye contact, and you open the door, throw your bag in, jump in the car.
I'm pretty sure if you own that car, if you own that Prius, and you've driven someplace and stopped, that someone has tried to get into your car before.
I've done it.
Just thinking that it's. I
mean, at
it's
least
the car
now they'll tell you the car you're looking for and the license plate. But before they didn't do all that. You know what I mean? Just the person showed up.
Even if you ordered one, you know what I mean? There's a chance if you're at a bar or something, there might be 2 or 3 on a Saturday night to come up. So you go to each one of those cars. Like, is this for me? Is this for me? You know what I mean?
I think, again, it depends on where you are. Like, you're right. If it's outside a bar, I almost always check now.
I do now.
But when I did it before, same thing. Like, it's a black Prius sitting right out in front of my place, and I like open the door. First I notice a backpack, and I'm like, that's weird. And as I'm getting in, she's like, I'm not an Uber. And I was like, that explains the backpack. I'll get out.
And also, unless you own like a Mustang or maybe a Lamborghini or some other car like that where I'm never going to mistake it for a cab, don't get a yellow car. I'm sorry that I got into your yellow car 1:30 in the morning as I stumbled out of a bar, but you were parked on the side. There's 4 other cabs, and I'm watching people get in, man. So I just open the door and get in, and you see the reaction. It's like, you're not a taxi because you're about to pepper spray me.
Random.
Hello, Raymond. Welcome to the men's room.
Boo, bitches.
Boo!
Raymond, welcome to the program. Random question. All right, Raymond, in your lifetime, you've been to a lot of different places. Where do you hope that you never have to go back to again? What are you like, you know what? I've seen enough. That's good enough for me.
Florida.
Okay. What part of Florida?
I was down in Fort Pierre or St. Lucie or something like that for rehab.
So how long were you in rehab?
It was a 35-day program.
I can't believe Florida offers rehab.
Well, you weren't really allowed to leave the grounds too much. So I'm sure, like anything else, rehab is the experience that it is. But, I mean, were you able to see anything down there, or were you just kind of confined to your area?
They took us to the beach every weekend to go swim in the ocean. It was more like a country club getaway is what it was, because on the flight home I was drinking.
Okay, all right. Now, so do you think, all right, were you allowed to have a cigarette?
Yes.
Okay. Because I always wondered about that. Because if you've ever been to an AA meeting before, man, it's like walking into the RJR Reynolds factory, man, and everybody's smoking. So I didn't know if they allow you to do certain things.
Well, I'm pretty sure that if they try to get you to quit smoking and drinking at the same time, there's going to be somebody getting beat up.
Yeah, that's like, don't push it.
Were you trying to kick an alcohol problem, or was it something else?
No, it was alcohol, and I finally got off of it after I moved back up here. I've got a little over 8 years sober now.
Oh, congratulations.
Look, I will say this. If you're in Florida, I feel like drinking is a necessity. Just to cope with the fact that you're in Florida.
I think, like anything else, certain people can go to rehab and then come out and you know, live a life like they want to. But a lot of people, it takes multiple times, and it's like quitting smoking. I've tried to quit smoking probably 5 or 6 times in my lifetime, and I still haven't succeeded in it.
Right.
You know what I mean? When I try, and then I get on a roll, then all of a sudden, next thing you know, like, I can have one every once in a while. And
now you can't.
That is just the dumbest thing ever, because as soon as I have, I'm like, this is so delicious, and I'm like,
I need more.
Oh, I just smoked a half pack of cigarettes in a day. Then before you know it, I'm right back up to my normal, smoking
That
habits.
is exactly me.
Yeah.
So did you volunteer for this rehab when you're in Florida, or is it suggested to you?
I volunteered. I've been in rehab probably, like you say, if you don't want it, it ain't going to work, but 6 or 7 times.
What's the average cost? Like, how much is 35 days? I would assume Florida would be a little bit more affordable, but...
Florida, 35 days was right around $70,000.
Wow. Now, does your insurance help pay for that?
My insurance paid for it all from the job I was at.
That's amazing.
Wow, okay.
I'm shocked to hear
good.
that, to be honest with you.
See, but look, if they didn't, you probably would not have gone through rehab for $70,000, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What finally got me sober was spending a year down at the Seattle Union Gospel Mission.
Oh, because you were homeless?
They have an alcohol drug program, and I was homeless. And so, you know what, that was the last choice I had. Went down there, and that one finally worked.
Okay. All right.
You sound so, I mean, I don't know.
What?
He's kind of telling the story of like when it got worse and then it got better, but like I could hear the excitement in his voice.
Do you?
That one finally worked.
So you don't drink anymore?
Yeah.
You don't drink anymore? Do you have any other vices? Do you smoke cigarettes? Do you occasionally smoke some weed or anything like that? Or California sober?
Smoke cigarettes and California sober as long as I'm home.
Okay.
Nice.
All right, yeah. And I know a lot of people who have succeeded in getting rid of their alcohol and tobacco program through marijuana.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, hey, Raymond, by the way, make sure you're listening an hour from now when we talk about the new beer.
Mm-hmm, yeah, you're going to love it. Reason asked, where do you not want to go back to again? As you maybe know, or maybe you do not know this, but O.J. Simpson, he spends most of his time in Las Vegas these days. His parole officer has allowed him to visit his kids who live down in Florida. But one place he says he's not...
to see, was it Chloe or Courtney?
Mm-hmm. One place he says he's not interested in visiting ever again or going ever again is Los Angeles.
You don't say.
And for a very specific reason. He said, quote, I have trouble with Los Angeles. People may think this is self-serving, but I might be sitting next to whoever did it. I really don't know who did this.
Oh, come on.
Man.
It that O.J. is referring to is, of course, whoever murdered his ex-wife, Nicole Brown, and Ron Goldman, which remains officially unsolved, so you know. He adds, I figured eventually someone might confess to something, you know. I had one suspect I took my lawyers to look at because I thought it might be him. I still think he might be involved, but I just can't talk about it. So
Man.
O.J. Simpson doesn't
Come on.
go back to Los
I
Angeles.
got a problem with L.A. because I might sit next to the murderer. Brother, you are the murderer. You sit with him every time you sit down. And if you want to stand next to him, stand up. And if you want to look at him, brush your teeth and look in the mirror.
My list is a lot lighter than theirs. My list is like I never want to go to the top of Mailbox Peak ever again. You know what I mean? Because it just about killed me. So
I don't ever want to go on the Ferris wheel at National Harbor again. Scared the living piss out of me. It did, man. The kids kept moving around. I think I'm just like, God damn it, sit the hell down.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I've never been there.
It is not worth going.
Right, because the Nationals showed up literally the year, like the spring we had left.
It's not. You're not
Is it
missing
too tall
the
for you?
thing. What, that Ferris wheel?
Yeah.
It's not that it's too tall. That's part of it. But more my problem was that it's 100% glass. So no matter where you were in the 6 freaking rotations, by the way. The first one was the worst. I was okay by the time it was done, but they swing a lot. You know what I mean? So the kids, being kids, they stand up to get a better view of something. And I just feel that thing creak and move. And I'm just like, man, you need to sit the hell down. You need to sit down. They did not know why I was being so evil, but when we finally got off of it, I said, look, your dad was scared Essless. Just straight up, man. That thing, it was a little taller than I thought it would be. Like I said, just all glass, and I'm like, and then my daughter kept going, if it bothers you, don't look down. So, of course, I keep looking down. Just like, God damn it, she's right.
I might put Jacksonville on there.
Was it that bad?
A place you didn't want to go back to. Well, the landing was my really only experience.
And it's gone.
Oh, it's gone?
It is.
You're kidding me. No more Hooters?
No.
See, this is the whole point. Golly.
You know where I want to go? Montpelier, Ohio.
All right.
I had to stay there once, just in a motel. As it turns out, the Klan was also staying at the same motel for their rally, because the guy behind the counter, this Indian dude, looked surprised and terrified when I walked in. And it was like 2 a.m, and I'm like, dude, I just need a room. We're driving to Chicago, but like, I'm going to pass out. And he's like, and there's nothing else there. I mean, there's nothing else around there.
There's a couple. I was going to say there's a couple bars too.
But dude was like, I don't know if you want to stay. I said, I don't want to stay, but I really need to. And he goes, look, basically every other room is taken up. The Klan's in town. I'm like, I'm sorry, what's that now? It says the Klan is like in every other room because there's a rally, a big rally tomorrow, and clearly this might be problematic for you. So I said, listen, I can't care about that right now. I've got to sleep. But what time is their earliest wake-up call? I think he said it was like 5:15. I said, wake me up at 4:30. Call into the room before, and I will get the hell out of here before any of them wake up. But I thought, you know what? I don't need to go back.
Ted, would you ever go back to the Yakima Walmart?
No. I'd go to Walmart.
Yeah, but the Yakima one.
Yakima
I'd be hard pressed.
Okay.
Yeah. So, sounds like
Random.
Did you see last week something? There was a giant fire in the parking lot.
Oh, the Walmart there?
Yeah.
that somebody set?
Somebody just sent me a note and was like, you can't even get into it right now. There's always something going on at that location.
What the hell is going on there?
I think that might be more of the residents and the area itself as opposed to a chain like Walmart.
Yeah, I don't think this is Walmart. Like, oh, please visit our location here where we're awful. Yeah.
Right.
Hello, Joe Dredd. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
Joe, welcome to the program. Random question. All right, let's see here. What do we got for you? Oh, by the way, Joe, we just had an interview request for Gene Simmons about his new artwork. Do you think we should take it?
No.
Okay. I thought the exact same thing. I deleted the email. You can interview Gene Simmons. I'm like, no, we don't want to. No, I don't think so either. All right, what is the dumbest thing that you've ever been asked, either on the job or just anywhere in general? What is the dumbest question that you cannot believe someone asked you?
Oh, geez, there's so many. I actually can't put my finger on one right now.
Okay.
I'm looking at my wife. You got one, honey?
I got one from my zoo day.
Oh, you want a zoo story?
Sure.
Here.
Okay, so I did regular spots on the local news, taking an animal, doing a little bit of an education bit about it, right? So I had taken a Harris hawk, and they are on the daily news. Hi, this is a Harris hawk. They live in Arizona. They eat, reptiles, blah, 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 mice, that sort of thing. And as soon as I feel out what they eat, I look at the anchor and I go, so do you have any questions? And she says, yeah, what do they eat?
Are you like, now how do you respond? You say, I just said that.
I did say that. I'm like, actually, like I just said.
Okay. I see how you did that. That is some broadcast professionalism.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. That's not the worst of it.
But isn't it nice to know that the person interviewing you also is not listening to a word you're saying?
We had a guy to ask.
It was so reassuring.
We had a guy at work ask Steve if you could say the S word on the air.
Now keep in mind, this is a dude.
And you can't, by the way.
That has a show on the radio. And look, obviously, if we do this for a living, it can't be that hard to do radio. And this guy...
Yeah, I'm just going to wait for the happy hour.
This guy, right. So this dude, but it happened on two separate occasions. The one time I came in, he said, hey, man, he's all fired up, right? And he goes, can you say the S word on the air? And I said, you absolutely can, but then you will lose your job and possibly the station loses its license. Like, can you? Yes, but don't. It's against, quote unquote, the rules. He says, well, I didn't say it, I said at. In other words, I said it past tense. And I said, that it doesn't matter. So he kept making the argument, going, yeah, but it's past tense. So I said, okay, let me pose this to you. So I said, I effed your mom. And he gave me, I said, do you feel better? It's past tense. I said, see, that look on your face, right? You still can't do it. And then about 2 months later, come walking into work, same guy, dumber than a box of rocks, comes running up, hey, man, and it was referring to breast, but with T's, right? Mm-hmm. And he goes, well, why is that bad? I said, I don't think it's bad. I said, but it doesn't matter what I think. The rules are we can't use that particular terminology for talking about women's breasts. He's like, well, because the boss got really mad at me today. I said, because you said it.
Right.
And the thing is, not only are you on the radio, the show is named after you. Like, you're the guy on the show. And it just seems like, in most cases, if you're going to do that, you should know the rules. Like, for example, football players, general idea of what the rules of football are. So they don't, like, rip off the other guy's helmet and start beating it with them. Like, you can't, well.
Overtime's tough.
It is.
Who's the guy from Pittsburgh? Got his head bashed in.
I know
Mason Rudolph?
Mason Rudolph.
Garrett was the guy for the Browns.
Yeah, he ripped off the guy's helmet and started.
Wasn't it Donovan McNabb in the Eagles years ago? They played to like a tie or something, and they were like, "Oh man, we didn't know we could tie."
Right, that's what it was.
Oh yeah,
no, Donovan McNabb. You're the leader of the team on the field, man.
I think it was him.
It was him.
Right,
you are the quarterback of the team. You know, like you need to know a little more. Your aptitude for the sport needs to be a little better. And certainly, you know that you can tie, right?
The reason we asked what's the dumbest thing that you've ever been asked at work, someone on Reddit asked doctors to name the dumbest things that they've heard from patients who decided to be their own doctor, basically. Here are a few of the highlights. Guy showed up to the ER with a minor cut, and there was red powder all over his hand. He said he put paprika on it to stop the bleeding. Someone had a cut that was seriously infected. It turned out they'd rubbed dirt in it because they heard it would stimulate their immune response.
Come on, man.
Another doctor mentioned that his back was hurting, and the person he was talking to said, well, you've got spinal cancer. They were wrong. And two of my favorites were, a baby had a really bad diaper rash because she said the mom had been pouring water into new diapers before putting them on. Why? She said she thought you were supposed to because diaper ads always show people pouring liquids into the diaper.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
Jesus Christ. But not with the baby in it.
And the best one was this one. A lady called her doctor to ask if her hemorrhoid cream would still work on vacation. Did I have any idea why they would wonder if their hemorrhoid cream still worked while they were on vacation?
I worked at a liquor store, a liquor store.
All right.
And a woman brought back a half a keg and said, "Can you take it in the back and fill it up?"
Oh, my God.
Yes. Right.
And I was like, "You think we have vats of beer? Like, we're produced like..."
No.
This isn't a brewery.
No.
And this was like 2000. Like, there wasn't local breweries all over the place either.
I like these two people texted in. It says, I had a co-worker ask me what they did in Greece to celebrate the 4th of July. I just shook my head.
Yeah.
And someone else says, I'm white. My name is Isaiah. Someone asked me to my face if my parents are black.
Well, the reason the lady called her doctor to ask if her hemorrhoid cream would still work on vacation was because she read the label and says only apply it locally.
Are you kidding me? Oh, my God.
More of the random question coming up, 206-421-ROCK.
99.9 KISW. The men's room is in progress.
Your guess is as good as mine on the way. Today's categories will be jobs, apparently the most attractive jobs some people find attractive. And we have the jobs that attract the most psychopaths.
Okay.
That's coming up with your guess as good as mine. Right after emails on a random question 206-421-ROCK.
Random.
Hello, Steven. Welcome to the men's room.
Liquor and whores.
Stephen, welcome to the program and the random question. Okay. This might be a very tough question to answer. Well, let's just put it in this perspective. If you could only have one type of soda for the rest of your life, what would it be? So in other words, what is your favorite soda of all time?
Too easy. Pepsi and only Pepsi.
Pepsi.
I don't even go on vacation without an ice cold canned Pepsi waiting for me.
Okay.
How irritated do you get at most restaurants, since most restaurants carry Coke?
Not really. I'm a cola guy at heart, so I'll drink RC Cola and Big K Cola.
When's the last time you had an RC? My father loved RC Cola when I was growing up in the 70s. In fact, we never got Coke. We never got Pepsi. If you had cola, it was RC, period.
That's how I grew up. My parents were RC junkies. They drank RC Cola and smoked Doral cigarettes.
They're hard to find. When you do find it, you're like, oh, my God, they have Royal Crown Cola. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, my God.
Usually
you rarely don't see it.
if they have it.
I know a couple places that have it in cans. That's about it. I know Big Mario's used to carry it in cans in their cooler.
Yeah, like my mom loves soda. That's like her real big vice. Mm-hmm. So she prefers Coke. But we definitely, I think when we were kids, we just drank whatever was on sale that week.
Could you do the test? In other words, if we put a bunch of different colas out in front of you, like the old taste test, can you taste which one's better? Would you know the difference between Pepsi and Coke?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think those two are easier. I really do. Between Coke and Pepsi, I think it's easier than people think it is, but I think if you threw RC into the mix and put it up against Pepsi, I might not know.
Do you ever branch out?
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
I guess the way
like you ever have a Sprite or a 7-Up and go, man, this is delicious, or a root beer, or a ginger ale, or a Mountain Dew or something, or a Dr. Pepper.
So my oldest daughter we just started allowing her to have a sugar-free soda when when it's a good day or whatever. So we bought these mini cans of Fanta. I'll crack one of those every now and then.
Okay. My son loves Fanta, and basically it's like currency with him because he gets them very rarely because it's just so much sugar. So I told him years ago that he didn't know that we got him a Fanta. It's in the fridge. I said, I want you to go up to the fridge and open it up. He's like, oh, man, there's a Fanta. I said, do you know who brought that? And he's like, you? I said, no, Fanta Claus. So now every time he has a Fanta, he gives a shout-out to Fanta Claus.
What's up with me buying those little tiny cans? I don't know why I think those are so neat. I always buy like the little tiny cans that are in the 8-packs.
Yeah, but it's not enough soda. Like, if I want a soda, just give me at least a can, right?
But, I mean, and I'm not saying this meanly, but outside of beer, like, you don't drink a lot of liquid.
No. I mean,
like, you get energy drinks, and it takes you 4 hours to drink them, and you're always like, these don't work. I'm like, I don't know if that's how they're designed.
No, I don't think they are either.
It's not a 4-hour...
I mean, I've had this thing since 9:30 this morning.
Right, your coffee, right. So I'm just saying, like, because you seem like the type of person that would drink that. Whereas, like, I'm constantly chugging everything. Mm-hmm.
Here's what I'm curious.
I need a full 12-ounce can.
Yeah. So you're talking about energy drinks, right? So 5-Hour Energy, they when they first came out, they had a TV commercial that said 5-Hour Energy, you have that lull during the day, drink 5-Hour Energy. And they tell you all the things it's supposed to do. But in the commercial, at the end of the commercial, the guy telling you that he has all this energy now, at the end, he sits down on the sofa, puts his feet up on the coffee table, starts reading the newspaper. And I'm thinking, I don't know that you need a lot of energy for that. So now the latest ad I saw was 5-Hour Energy. Basically, it's the same premise. You hit that midday lull, 5-Hour Energy, and it shows a guy, he's just standing by himself fishing.
All right.
Like beach fishing. I'm like, Again,
in a chair.
I feel like that's something you can do when you're kind of tired.
Hey, you might have fallen asleep there.
I mean, at least Gatorade's like, shows guys lifting weights and they sweat blue, man, and they're screaming and they run up mountains, and it's not like drink Gatorade and then you sit down in a lawn chair.
Get rehydrated. Reason me asked what's your favorite soda. A 31-year-old guy in North Carolina named Charles Carr. He recently broke into someone's home and he stole a bunch of stuff, including 4 military medals that were earned in Vietnam. 2 of those medals, by the way, were Purple Hearts. And the guy who earned them, he is not around anymore. His name was Daniel Laws. And as you'd imagine, his family was pretty upset when they realized that someone had broken into their home and stole his medals. Thankfully, though, cops were able to connect Charles to the crime after he traded one of the Purple Hearts for a Mountain Dew.
Are you kidding?
Specifically, a Mountain Dew Code Red. The guy who traded with him, he saw the story on television about the missing medals, and he came forward. So the family at least got one of the Purple Hearts back. But the last news on this was the guy Charles is still on the run, and the other 3 medals have not been returned yet.
Now look.
But they know who the guy is based on the fact that he traded a Purple Heart medal for a Dew Code Red.
Now, come on, man. So the guy that gives you... I know he says, look, I saw the story later, and when I realized this guy had stolen it, he reaches out to the cops. Yes, that's the right thing to do. But you're telling me at the time, you don't piece together that there's a real good chance that that Purple Heart's been stolen, because anyone who's earned a Purple Heart that is still alive, one, they're not going to give it to you for anything, and they're certainly not going to trade it for a single Mountain Dew Code Red.
And that's why the guy came forward. He's like, this is ridiculous. When you know you have a Purple Heart in your hand,
you're not even going to give it for a Mountain Dew?
Mountain Dew Code Red.
From a person who earned it? I mean, instantly, be like, dude, I know you stole that because you would not trade it for a Mountain Dew.
Random.
Because if that's all you needed, you know what the military would do? For all the valor and honor you show?
They give you a Mountain
Here's
Dew
a
Red.
Mountain Dew Code Red.
Well, Code Reds are pretty good.
I mean, I hear you.
What do you think your favorite soda is? Like, a Sprite is my favorite, but if I could only pick one for life, that's tougher, because then it's like never the occasional orange soda or Coca-Cola.
I do
or
love
root beer.
I do love the Fanta, but because I like it so much, I try not to buy it. Every once in a while, I'll treat myself, but I understand what I'm putting in my body. But you know, I'd probably go Sprite. I feel the least guilty with Sprite.
Dr. Pepper all day.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah,
I
really?
don't drink soda all the time, but if I did, I know the Mexican Coke thing's probably a gimmick with the original cane sugar in it, but the Coke in a glass bottle.
I would call it a gimmick. It just, I don't know who started that, but it just, you can't tell the difference. It is real cane sugar.
Yes, but can you tell? Taste that.
Also, high fructose corn syrup is sugar.
Sure. I know. That should be the taste test. Not between Coke and Pepsi. I think most people would get that, right? But here is the Mexican Coke with the real. Because it tastes so much. Like, dude, just say it. It's in a cool glass bottle.
That's what it is. It reminds me of growing up when you had 6-pack returnable bottles in a glass and you took them back to the grocery store, and that was like my job. We get in, I got to carry in the
collect the bottles.
But I never was allowed to have one. You know what I mean? Like, it was
like
they were like such valuable, currency in our home. It was like, all right, you can split one with your buddy. Like, all right,
damn,
yeah. They were in high demand. They really were. I mean, because that was my mom's gimmick. So, that was hers, and you couldn't touch it. Like Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Yeah, some of my kids can't touch it. They're just unaware.
Because I had a big 3-liter that I was there.
They suck.
That I could drink from anytime I wanted to. Like, I bought you this. This is yours. Don't touch mine.
You get this big flat one.
Yeah, you get the big flat ass one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you, though, too. Like, that was... Right, because there was only glass bottles.
Right.
And we had, they were more like the rounded ones, but there was, 2 liters here and there. But you're right, it was a big no-no to steal, the last glass. Drink that, because that's like my mom's,
somebody's
single
waiting for that when they get home from work.
Yeah.
That's what they're sitting down and drinking.
Let's see. Someone here says Mountain Dew is the superior soda, hands down. I could drink that by the gallon. Let's see. Someone says, I like this. Dr. Pepper, and they're not too far off. It tastes like barbecue water.
Hey.
All right.
It's actually pretty good. It's actually a pretty good marinade.
It doesn't mean it's bad. No. I think they're saying, look, in the scheme of things, and you're right, because a lot of people use it as a marinade. Someone's saying McDonald's Coke, it hits differently. I agree with that, and I don't know if it's their syrup to water ratio, if it's how they carbonate it, but there is something distinctly different.
If you ever do it's both. It's their mix, and then also they keep their lines cold all the time, because McDonald's Coca-Cola is the best.
Right. And if you put if you like spare ribs or whatever, and you put them in a Ziploc bag the night before, and you put a dry rub on them, if you just put a little bit of Coke in that bag, it'll caramelize the entire drink. Outside. Yes,
or Dr. Pepper,
or Dr. Pepper, or root beer. Or any of them.
Not root beer.
It puts a real nice glaze on the outside. It kind of makes it more of a Korean barbecue when you get down to it.
Do you guys like root beer?
I love root
beer. Really?
Love it.
Root beer float in a vanilla ice cream scoop?
A root
Are
beer
you kidding
float
me?
I can deal with, but man, just root beer, I don't.
I even like root beer candy. I don't even like that kind of candy.
Ew, man.
But half the time, if I could get like a root beer, bomb pop or whatever the hell those things were, Tootsie Roll Pop, I'm down.
There's a grown-ass man.
Yeah, root beer's just delicious.
Especially with a Tootsie Roll in the middle.
And root beer is one of the few sodas you can drink at night. It doesn't have caffeine.
Mm-hmm. Just like ginger ale.
Sprite doesn't either.
Exactly. And Sprite does not taste like root beer.
I can't believe you hate on root beer.
I just don't like it. Even as a kid, your parents always thought they're giving you a treat like, hey, we got root beer. And I mean, every time I'm like, I don't like this. Why do you think I'm going to be happy about this? I never understood. Like, look, you can buy all the root beer you want. That's fine. Why do you keep giving it to me? Like, I don't like this. Remember last time you got me root beer and I said, I don't like this? It's still the same.
All right. Yeah, I'm with you.
But a root beer float, I can do that. Hello, Nick. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Hola. Nick, welcome to the program. Random question. Quick question before I ask you this. Do you have someone that you're going out with right now?
I do not.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So nobody's going to get in trouble on this one. All right.
Okay.
You don't have to name the name of the person. But is there a person out there right now that you really want to sleep with?
Yeah.
Okay. How many?
At least one's coming to mind.
Okay. And do you just run into them like on the job or something like that, or occasionally at your neighborhood or whatever?
No, sadly, it's still just like a social media friendship, and haven't seen him in like maybe two-ish years.
But you still have that feeling?
More just like an attraction.
Okay. And do you think that they know that?
Probably not.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right. Okay.
Don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a person out there that, the thing is, even if you are married and you've been married for 30 years, it doesn't mean that you're not attracted to other people.
My wife bought the same shoes from this guy because she thought he was hot.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, she would go to this one store because the guy that worked there, because I'm like, there was a period like 8 years ago or something. I'm like, you were buying an awful lot of shoes. They're not necessarily expensive. I mean, it could be flip-flops, whatever, but I'm like, what is, like every 3 weeks, man. She's like, look, I'm going to be honest with you. The sales guy is freaking hot. Okay.
Hey,
whatever,
look,
man.
There's occasionally times where a bartender will leave one of your favorite bars, and you'll go, hey, what happened to such and such? And they go, oh, they went to another bar, and you go, damn it. Mm-hmm. That was nice to talk to.
Then they're always surprised when you show up there.
Right.
Hey, I heard you once.
I thought you lived like 45 minutes. Huh. I do. I was just in the area.
Yeah, I was just around.
Just go pop in. See what's going on.
I think it's okay if it's the same neighborhood and the bar closed.
right.
Yeah, but you're banging on the door and like signs on there like, we're not open anymore.
But you said people you want to sleep with, right? But in the course
That's a lot of people. I mean, because you're not saying you're going to do it, but I mean, hell, I think I passed 5 women in Costco on Saturday. I was like, I'm going to sleep with her.
I was going to say, like, in the course of a day, probably 7. But you made eye contact for 2 seconds. You will never see them again. You're like, that chick was hot.
But there's occasions in your day-to-day life where you run into these people and know them on a first-name basis. You know what I mean? Where it's not just randomly walking by someone and go, man, oh, man, look at that person.
Yeah.
But, just...
some people have hot wives.
Yeah, right, exactly. Whatever the deal is.
I mean, I feel like that is a very open-ended question.
It is. But here's
like, you might only be currently concentrating on sleeping with the one person, but like,
who do you want to?
If there's people I want to sleep
in a perfect world,
sure. Jesus Christ, Jeff.
I don't have enough years in my life to accomplish that mission.
No.
Do most of them know? I would assume so.
I would assume if they're with me, then there's a lot of people they're interested in, just based on looks alone. Right. And sexual performance or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I was right. And it works the other way, too. Like, I have a couple friends that are just very attractive dudes. Mm. Like, one guy, sometimes I set it up. I go, you haven't met him yet? I go, he's great. He's one of us. He's just much more attractive than we are. Just a heads up.
And smarter, probably.
Just no.
I don't know if I'd give him smarter.
You can't give him everything.
He doesn't have to be.
Yeah, right. He's good looking. He's good looking.
That hair.
That's right. The reason we asked, is there a person that you really, really want to sleep with that you know? Almost 2/3 of people, and by the way, if you're jealous, this is going to make you go nuts, are in a relationship right now, but they already have someone else in mind who's waiting in the wings, just in case things go south. 66% of every single person in any kind of relationship has admitted that if the S hits the fan, they've got a plan B that they would at least attempt to work out.
Then that tells me, even if it's subconscious, you're trying to make the S hit the fan.
Half actually admit they have a backup person in mind right now And most of the time, it's
What is this, like a league?
It's someone they used to date. It's basically what you all call the bench, right?
Right.
Eventually,
Yeah.
this guy's going to get in and get a couple reps. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But my firsthand experience has been like, maybe I am done with this relationship. I got that one in the wings, but it's like they can sense it, and once you're single again, it doesn't work that way. Now they have no interest.
Right, and once you get...
Or they didn't have interest, and now they have interest because you started dating someone.
Or, that's what I'm saying, you will start going out with someone, and they'll become available.
Correct.
It's never...
But I never had a bench.
connects.
I mean, I had an imaginary. Basically, I played fantasy football. Well, yeah, if I had my druthers, these people, my bench is empty. You know what I'm saying?
And also, I think for people like us, like,
we're getting a little older.
I don't have bench players because if I sit you on the bench, like, you're not playing. Yeah. Or I would have started you years ago. Right. Like, we're legit just friends.
But if someone is attractive, you're not the only one that finds them attractive. That's impossible.
There's a woman that works in this building, and we're talking to VD about it, and I said, I don't know if she knows this. On some level, she probably does, but I said, really, she's never spoken to a heterosexual male who does not want to have sex with her.
No,
right? And it can be her coworkers. It can be a man on the street. Whoever she's talking to, because she's just that good.
If you have blood flowing through your veins, it would be impossible not to find this person attractive.
Right, I mean, honest to God.
No matter what your type is, it doesn't matter.
Right, like, she's one of those people where it's like, look, she's just kind of everybody's type, unless you're real specific.
Yeah. Almost 2/3 of people in general have stayed in contact with an ex during the pandemic, just in case. So keeping someone on the back burner isn't just something people in relationships do.
It's emergency booty.
A lot of us have someone in mind. 54% of women say they've got somebody on the bench, just in case. 54% of women admit it. 44% admit it too, and they all say that they've slept with an ex long after the relationship was over.
Oh, sure.
So 1 in 7 specifically did it because they wanted to get back together with him, but most of the time it's just like, well, I've been there, done that. You know what I mean? I know what I'm getting into. So
good with that mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a long pandemic.
Oh, yeah. At this point, just like...
Well, I'm just saying, like...
What's that old one-legged, bald-headed lady you were dating, man? That's,
Yeah, at this point, if my bullpen had somebody in it that, I don't know, doesn't have arms, like, I don't care. Get in. You're pitching
You're
tonight.
pitching anyway.
Just kick it.
You don't have to be good. Just make an effort.
Just look at it. I just try to envision the ball going from your glove to the catcher's mitt.
Just stare at it until I'm excited. Hello, Pat. Welcome to the men's room.
Hello.
Hola.
Pat, welcome to the program. And a random question. Okay, Pat, let's see if you can answer this one. What did you accidentally swallow?
Some chewing tobacco in a beer bottle when I was drunk at a party.
Ooh, God, man.
Did that make you vomit right away?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, that's...
I don't know anyone who's done that by accident and not puked.
Nicotine is a strong drug, man, and if you take too much of it accidentally, man, it'll mess you up.
Especially when it's from someone else's mouth.
It always seems to mess you up in a nauseous way. It affects the stomach to the point where you get the sweats
and it's
throw
like
up.
instant.
Oh my God, it's the worst thing in the world. That is one thing, fortunately, I've never done, but I have. Like the first 2 times that I attempted to dip Coke in Copenhagen, you don't realize that if you don't know what you're doing, the granules are really, really fine in those.
Yeah.
So it would have been better if I'd have tried like a Skull Bandit to start or something like that. But you swallow a little bit of the juices and stuff, man. And I mean, you know it. I mean, you start getting the spins. It feels like you're car sick. And then all of a sudden, it's just, you get the mouth sweats and all of a sudden it's like, blah, blah, like within 2 heaves, man. It's completely out of your system. Reason we asked, what did you swallow by accident? A Chinese man had to undergo a complicated gastroscopic surgery to have a 15-centimeter toothbrush removed from his stomach after he accidentally swallowed it during his morning routine.
How deep do you brush? You know what I'm saying?
He said he was sleepier than usual, and while brushing the teeth at the back of his mouth and his tongue, he accidentally dropped the plastic brush and it slipped into his throat. Realizing he made the mistake, he tried to reach in after it. But the slippery plastic handle proved difficult to grab, and he managed only to push it further down in there. Realizing that he had swallowed said toothbrush and already experiencing discomfort in his esophagus, the man drove to the local hospital where doctors performed the x-ray, saw him, prepped him for the emergency operation, and successfully removed said toothbrush. Your guess is as good as mine. Categories coming up: the most attractive jobs and the jobs that attract the most psychopaths. You are listening to The Men's Room.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Start summer up by mixing things up with top paint and stain brands at Lowe's. Shop HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, Valspar, Cabot to find the perfect pop of color or classic shade you've been looking for. And don't forget to prep your deck for the season with reliable wood stain and sealer. Now's the perfect time to complete your paint or stain project. Lowe's. All things summer, all at the right price.
I'm Glennon Doyle, author of Untamed and host of the podcast We Can Do Hard Things. Each week, we talk openly and honestly about the hard things in life together with you. So join us and some of our dearest friends and greatest heroes to talk about anxiety, boundaries, parenting, infidelity, our bodies, loving and losing, all of the things that make us human. Listen to and follow We Can Do Hard Things on Odyssey and everywhere you get your podcasts.